Today is October 3rd. It's Wednesday, and it's a new episode of the Level 1 News.
If you're just joining us, you weren't here for the last episode. Wendell is out this week. He's joined a task force who is working to build online filters to stop sexuality discrimination in the fraud community. So it was important that he work on that. Couldn't be here.
And
today we're going to talk about business. And there's really only one story that matters this week in business. And I think you all know what I'm talking about. And that is the epic fall of one Elon Musk.
I wouldn't say it's an epic fall. Because he still gets to, let me give you a spoiler alert.
Well, let's do the timeline.
He gets to be CEO still.
You spoiled it.
I did.
So the SEC passed down this little piece of documentation here. United States District Court versus Elon Musk. And what they're saying is they are tired of this funding secured nonsense. His tweeting, it was irresponsible. It was securities fraud. And they were seeking very, very, very serious language, which said he would be barred as director from any publicly traded company.
And this was after he had been offered kind of like a deal. And he's like, no, I'm going to be chairman. And they're like, no, you're not.
You get the impression that he walked out of that room and every Tesla lawyer and the rest of the board called him and they were like, what is your problem? Get back in, tuck your tail between your legs and get back in there and give them what they want and shut up and stop tweeting. So they went back to the table and a deal was signed.
So our next story has details of the deal.
Here are the major points of the deal that he has made. He is out as chairman of the board.
Which is what he didn't want to give up, but
no
here we are.
No more will he be chairman of Tesla's board. Now he will continue to be CEO.
Yes.
So that's,
He can still put that on his resume, you know.
I feel like that was a bit of a win for him. There will be 2 independent directors on the board that I assume the SEC will place there. So not fun that he has to now deal with those people. There will be a committee of independent directors put in place and additional controls and procedures to oversee Musk's communications.
Which means, please stop tweeting garbage.
His tweets will now have to be confirmed by an outside team.
What if he just starts tweeting pictures of like puppies all the time? It's like what my Twitter is. It's just weird pictures.
They still have to look at them. You think they would study them and be like, what's the secret?
Do they get PTSD from looking at Elon Musk tweets?
They should probably get some sort of hazard pay. And finally, $20 million from Musk and $20 million from Tesla will be paid. And that will go to compensate people who lost money during the funding secured debacle. I don't know if 40 million will cover it. I don't know. Maybe a lot of people didn't sell or buy.
I don't know.
But yeah, that's been an interesting story. That played out over the the course of the week.
Yeah.
So at first it was like, oh, are they really going to have any teeth? Because in the past, I mean, remember the banking crisis?
Yeah, a lot of people were talking about that. Like when I was reading Reddit stories about this, people were like, I can't believe they're just like, you know, whatever.
They didn't do anything. Nobody went to jail. They didn't do it. It was just a bunch of wrist slapping. And then they brought out the documentation. It was like, wow, they're going to just knock him out. Like he can't run any publicly traded company. Because one day,
I feel like they're making an example of him.
What if SpaceX wanted to go public? Then now they'd have to get rid of him. He'd have to step down. And so this was, I think, a pretty good compromise. In terms of that.
Well, Musk probably doesn't think so. But
no,
I mean, he's still allowed to run his company, which I mean is surprising.
He's probably furious. Some interesting things came out in that document, though. Apparently, the $420 stock price was in fact a drug reference.
I could see that.
And
I mean, $420. I mean, come on.
And he thought that the girlfriend would be amused by it. That's why he chose that number.
I mean,
that's
ballsy.
Is that a loving? Would you be swept off your feet by that?
I would laugh if he did it in private. I would not be laughing if he did that and then, you know, almost cost his future.
I think the thing that
jeopardize his future.
He's probably most pissed off that his tweets are now going to have to be approved.
Yeah, I bet that's annoying.
It is very. I mean,
will they have to like implement like a workflow? Like
I think
send
so.
this to the marketing team and then
so.
I can tweet it.
I think somebody else gets his phone and then he has to draft one and send it.
We should implement that with Wendell. Not because he like tweets anything bad, but just because I think it would drive him crazy.
Yeah. And like really red tape him on it. It's like wait 3-4 days before we approve any tweets. Yeah,
oh man,
that would probably drive him over the edge, to be honest. Well, you know who else is being driven over the edge? It's Qualcomm. They're angry again, and who are they angry at? You can easily guess. It's Apple.
I feel like these two are in a fight just constantly. One is always angry at the other.
But they're in that sort of frenemy state where they hate each other, but they have to work together. Yeah.
You know, it's like they're lab partners in chemistry. Qualcomm is now accusing Apple of stealing trade secrets and giving them to Intel, but there thus far has been no proof of that from them.
Now, they claim they have the proof, but they haven't given it to us. But they're saying that Apple hates that they have to work with Qualcomm, which I think is...
Yeah, that's fair. Whatever.
I think everybody agrees with that. So what they're seeking to do is to get Qualcomm secrets and give it to Intel so that then they can work with Intel. Because now Intel will have good chips like Qualcomm. So, this is about the radios and phones. And that's the thing that they've been arguing back and forth over since the beginning of time. Well, bad news for you controller monkeys, you console plebs. You are about to get owned.
I was going to say, this could be good news, depending on how you look at it.
No, because, not for them, because the PC Master Race already has these skills, and they have to build them.
Well, I mean, what if you're someone who does both? Xbox has now announced mouse and keyboard support, which means now you're going to have much better aim and reflexes if you're used to the mouse and keyboard and you hook it into your Xbox.
Now, they recognize that is a game changer. You put mouse and keyboard up against controller, it's not a competition.
Yeah, at least not for like shooters and stuff.
Yeah.
No way.
And FPS, the stuff like that. So they're actually going to leave it up to the game developer whether or not to enable that. They're thinking about the first game that's going to get it is going to be Warframe, which is a shooter.
It's Warframe shooter.
Yeah, I remember we played that. It's where you like jump and tumble around in the air.
I guess, yeah, you're right. It is a shooter.
You have to aim.
Yeah, I remember that.
I think there's Melee, but...
It's been a while since I've played it.
So I suspect people will want that. People will call out for that. Especially when we're in the age of... I mean, isn't Fortnite? I don't know if the consoles... I know the consoles play with each other. I don't know if they play with PC.
I don't think they play with PC currently.
But they could if you implemented that, right?
How many people are going to get accused of aimbotting? Just because they have like better flick reactions?
But it's also going to be probably off-putting for somebody who's just looking to come home and relax, pick up the controller.
Yeah, sit on your couch. That's kind of the thing I miss about playing on a console, sitting on the couch.
You know what? We'll probably have an opportunity here. We could build some hardware peripherals that make it easy for you to mouse and keyboard in a reclined position.
I think that probably already exists, like a lap thing.
Well, we can make a really good one and brand it Level 1.
Oh, actually, that would kind of be interesting.
Well,
but everyone's ergonomics of their lap is different, though.
Well, make it adjustable.
Okay, well, put a pin in that.
There's a way to do that. People are going to post a ton of links.
There's probably already a way to do it, yeah.
Well, Amazon. Amazon is conquering the world. We all know that Jeff Bezos is the richest man.
Basking in the tears of his employees.
By a long shot. I don't know if Amazon has eclipsed Apple yet as far as total dollars, but they're closing. They're closing fast. And a lot of people are complaining that is being done on the backs of the fulfillment center workers who are not being treated well. And this leaked video may lend some credence to that.
Amazon aggressive anti-union tactics revealed. It's a 45-minute video, and let's scroll down so they can see the screenshot. This looks like a South Park character. Look at his little 5 o'clock shadow there. He's got nice cheekbones though. And
you can sort of see
living wage.
The things that they're going after.
You don't want that. You're an Amazon worker.
So
Amazon is life.
This is targeted toward supervisors in the fulfillment centers. Although, did you know that no one has a job title at a fulfillment center? They're all just associates.
That's probably confusing.
Yeah. I mean, some people have power, but they don't have a job title. They're just an associate. They get paid more.
Just don't question it. Yeah.
So this is sent out, and they're supposed to be able to target, identify, and neutralize attempts to unionize. Now, the video, they said they're not anti-union, but then they spend the next 44 minutes explaining how to crush unions. So
we're not anti-union. We just really hate them.
that's a mixed signal. And it is probably true that if the Amazon workers unionize, we won't have the same Amazon experience.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe.
Walmart is notorious for the same thing.
Yeah.
Walmart does not want to talk about unions. So I don't know. We'll see. The wave of socialism and communism that's sweeping over this country, I feel, is bad news for those companies. Well, it's bad news for all of us, but
USA.
especially bad news for, it's funny how the tactics that the extreme left use these days is very akin to McCarthyism.
Yeah, the Red Scare.
And yet they're all commies. So it's history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. That's a quote from Mark Twain, maybe, I don't know. Well, also talking about Amazon, they've conquered online, right? I've said this before. Bezos is never satisfied. He's like Genghis Khan. He must continue to crush his enemies and find new kingdoms to attack. And I think the newest kingdom is brick and mortar stores.
This is the most bizarre thing. Amazon is opening a new store that sells items from its website rated 4 stars and above.
Here's a picture.
It feels like we've come full circle at this point. You're opening a grocery store.
Well, this is not a grocery store, but so they're going to sell all of their tablets and Echo Dots and all that nonsense, and then items that have really high ratings. And when you browse through the store, you not only do you see the price, but you also see the average rating and how many reviews it has. And if you are an Amazon Prime member, you get special pricing here.
I'd be curious. I mean, maybe this was listed and I missed it, but how do they choose what items are displayed in the Amazon storefront?
That's a good question. So this is going to be in Soho in New York. So items that New Yorkers buy most often will go into the store.
I don't know. What do New Yorkers buy? If you're from New York, what do you buy?
Well, it'll change over time. So they have you think about when Walmart has something that doesn't sell, often they'll destroy it.
Yeah.
But Amazon, they just ship it back to the fulfillment center. Just wait for it to sell online, right? 'Cause they got all the warehouses in the world. So it's easy for them to constantly have really exciting products in the store. And if it ain't working out, just move them back.
Just move it back.
Yeah.
That's so weird. Is there going to be a pet care? I'm curious if it's going to go more sort of grocery.
I don't think so.
Rite Aid kind of.
I think it's going to definitely be non-perishable.
Well, I'm thinking even just a drugstore kind of vibe, or if it's going to be more upscale, home decor and lifestyle kind of goods.
Well, you got to think these neighborhoods in New York. Well, the one thing that New York does not have are big Walmart-esque supercenter stores. They have all smaller stuff. So if you can fill that gap a little bit.
So maybe it's more lifestyle. It'd be interesting to see what they stock there.
Not interesting enough to actually go to one.
No, not. But I could just go to Amazon and order it.
They've also got the Amazon Go convenience stores that are going in everywhere. Where you just go in and pick up what you want and leave.
I bet if Wendell's ever in New York, he'll go to it.
Oh yeah.
He'll definitely want to check it out.
Listen. For the tweets alone.
Look what I found in the Amazon store, but not online.
Well, the good news, maybe for some of you, most of you would probably decry this, as you would never touch it, but Microsoft is bringing multi-user virtualization to Azure with Windows 10 and Windows 7. There's going to be a special edition. Krista was so excited about this.
I have no strong feelings about this story. I was like, all right. Ryan was like, if Wendell was here today, he was like, you'd have so much to say about this, but yeah. I have no strong opinions.
This is one of those stories where Wendell just you don't even try to get a word in.
No.
Because he's just going to
He's got so many things in his head.
He wants to he wants to project his opinion onto the audience so desperately that all other things go out the window. But yeah, you can. It's going to work with Office 365 and the Windows Store apps. So you can just run multi-user Windows, or you can run specific apps. So you can have an instance of Word running in the cloud for multi-user if that's what you want. So, again,
Awesome.
try to contain yourself, Krista.
It's getting hard over here because I'm just so excited about that.
And big news in the music world, Sirius. Actually, I should let you read the headline.
SiriusXM to acquire Pandora in $3.5 billion deal. I actually had to ask Ryan when we were discussing the stories when we were organizing them. I was like, does Sirius really have that many subscribers anymore?
It talks about that. I think Pandora has 70 million and Sirius has like 30 million.
Yeah. So this seems like this is a big win for Sirius Radio.
Well, it's expensive.
Yeah.
Now, Pandora has been falling off recently.
Spotify is the big one now. They should have bought Spotify.
So, I don't know. Did Pandora change? It used to be that Pandora was just radio stations. Like you couldn't choose individual songs. I don't know if it's still like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I've not used it.
I know there's that. There's an Asian restaurant here in town, and all they play it's always the same Bruno Mars radio on Pandora.
Well, sometimes they'll have TV on. They have renovation shows on, but
if it's music, it's Bruno Mars radio,
and it's not censored.
No.
Like we're sitting here eating, and like the F-bomb drops over the radio.
And one time there was an old like country couple sitting at the booth next to us, and that F-bomb dropped, and they were not happy about that. They were very offended.
You know who else drops the F-bomb at lunch sometimes, without any regard to like the volume of his voice?
Oh yeah, don't tell me how to talk.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for somebody to try to tell me how to talk at lunch.
It'll happen one day, and it'll be awkward for everybody.
Not for me. I'll be excited.
I need to confront someone.
Well, you know what? In another place that might be uncomfortable for you to drop the F-bomb is in an airplane cabin. Where you're trapped with other people for several hours at a time. But if you want to avoid that, this Alaskan airline has a really good solution.
Alaska Airlines has a new perk, virtual reality. This is only for first class. So
the plebs don't need this.
They don't need this. But scroll down so they can see the picture because this is the best part. Look how happy all those first class passengers are.
But he's looking at the flight attendant. And why is he looking at the flight attendant?
Well,
because
maybe
he
there's
can't
something
see.
else there. You don't know what he's looking at.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, it's virtual reality.
So this is going to be, this little headset is noise canceling earpieces and 3D movies. And also a couple of those 360-degree nature exploration devices. So no gaming. Krista was quick to point out that gaming on VR
would be extremely even in first class, those seats aren't huge. So you're like flailing and hitting your seat partner.
Could be bad.
Throw your controller like they used to do with the Wii.
But I could see that. I would want to do VR. I wonder if that, because it's a pressurized cabin, but if you hit turbulence or whatever, is that motion while you're experiencing something else in your eyes going to be like car sickness?
Well, people have complained about that anyway.
Yeah.
Like just playing it normally. I personally think I would probably get sick.
There's already a fairly high chance of vomiting on a plane, right? So
I bet when they announced this, I bet the flight attendants were like,
I don't know. They might, because you're probably, if you get caught up in a movie, watching it in VR, you're probably less likely to annoy them for other things.
Maybe. Or, you smash like 5 airplane bottles of alcohol, and then you put your VR headset on, and then the plane starts up, and you just vomit uncontrollably for hours.
I'm sure somebody will do that. But if you're going to smash 5 little mini bottles of alcohol, you might vomit anyway. So,
I mean, they're pretty tiny. How many alcohols is that? That's like...
What is it? Those are like 4 or 5 ounces, right?
Yeah, that would be like 2 drinks maybe.
2 shots, maybe 3.
Yeah.
Well, if you do that real quick, though.
That wouldn't be good.
I bet if we lined up 3 shots right now and you did them in a row,
couldn't.
you would be wrecked.
I wouldn't think I would be completely wrecked, but I would probably not be feeling very good.
I think that's a challenge.
Yeah.
When I saw Wendell's email, I didn't see it till this morning, and I was like, oh man, if Krista doesn't come, I can't even get alcohol today. I can't do...
Oh, it's Sunday, yeah.
Because it's Sunday.
No, I messaged him last night. We know the real reason Wendell's gone.
What are you saying? I told them why.
You've made up 2 different stories. There's video evidence.
Well, Fortnite. Let's talk about Fortnite and the controversy that is PlayStation Fortnite.
I just dabbed on the haters.
I saw it.
PlayStation 4 is now changing the crossplay policy, so now you can actually play with other console plebs.
Testing. They've begun testing to see if the higher class of person who is the PlayStation owner can actually have a good experience while mingling with the plebs.
I think all the other consoles were already like, yeah, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's just PlayStation 4 is like, no, you're not doing that.
Again, I don't know if they mix PC in with that, because that would be a huge advantage.
It would, again, yeah. It seems like every game I've ever heard of has never allowed PC and console to play together.
Here's another question, right? If Xbox gets mouse and keyboard,
Will that be an advantage?
Doesn't that poison the crossplay? Because Switch is never going to get it. Well, I guess they could, but not on the mobile mode.
Do you think?
I tell you,
will people get upset by this like the same way I get upset about Smurfs and Overwatch?
Well, these young communists, they're big believers that everything has to be an equal playing field, and this is not going to appeal to them.
I mean, it is frustrating when someone has a major advantage over you in some way, and you can't. I guess you could buy a keyboard and mouse, but
it is frustrating when someone has a major advantage, such as the major advantage of being the richest man in the world, who is able to blanket the entire continent, and not only the continent, but the planet and his satellites.
Satellite company partners with Bezos AWS to bring internet connectivity to the whole planet. And then there's a little asterisk at the end of the story that's for a small fee, of course.
Well, I don't know if there'll be a fee. So the plan here is not just for internet, to the whole planet, but this whole thing is going to run AWS, and it's going to be specifically for Internet of Things. So if you're in rural China and you don't have regular internet, your refrigerator can still be on Internet of Things.
Well, thank goodness, because that's what I'm worried about in rural China, not my air quality.
You are, you don't have shoes, you're walking around in the dirt, you're raising yaks or whatever you raise in China.
Would you have a smart fridge if you live?
Yeah, you will. And your smart fridge will be able to participate in botnets, even though you don't understand what any of those words mean.
Because you don't speak English.
Well, but also, you didn't buy the fridge. An Amazon truck just showed up one day. And they're like, here's a fridge and some solar panels. Was it from your kids
in the city?
No. It was from Bezos.
Just from gift wrapped from him.
Because he wants, he needs to be in every household. That's one of his needs.
So. We don't even have electricity. Plug it in anyway. Get a generator.
They're sitting there at the little ice maker that has the screen on. They're playing Bejeweled because it's the only piece of electronics they have.
It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for them, probably, if that was the case.
Well, it would hurt their farm productivity.
Well, listen, sacrifices have to be made to get that high score. Oh, you could have the highest score in your village, and you could see that because it's connected to the internet.
Yeah, but what about microtransactions? Would people fall victim?
You can get prettier jewels.
And they don't have any money. At the end of the harvest, they got a couple of bucks, and they're going to use that to get that tumor removed from Junior. But instead, Mom pisses it all away
on skins for Fortnite, Overwatch loot boxes.
Well, speaking of airplanes, probably should have put this story with the VR story. Yeah. In hindsight, probably would have done that. But Delta is following the likes of Australia and I think some European countries doing away with the passport.
Biometric terminal introduced. This was in Atlanta, correct?
Atlanta. There's a name of the airport. Look how happy he is.
She looks confused and not entirely sure about the biometric testing.
He's got that smirk like, my job doesn't matter anymore. And
I can't wait to be replaced by this machine.
And she's just like, I am so high right now. I don't know what's going on.
I've been drinking airport bottles of liquor all day.
Hartsfield-Jackson Airport will use this system. And so I think they're incorporating thumbprint right now. It's purely just your face. You walk up, you look at that little screen, there's a big green check mark, and you go.
What about doppelgangers or twins?
They actually caught a guy trying to use a fake passport.
Really?
Yeah. So he came in and he was like, here's my passport, and everything was perfectly,
looked fine.
And then the facial scanner got him.
Wow.
That's bad news for spies, let me tell you.
You have to go in another way.
How are you going to be doing your spying? You got to fly into the country, right?
Well, you got to fly in, or you take a boat.
You got to jump out of an airplane? Is that what you're going to have to start doing?
Where are we dropping? We're dropping Pachinki.
That's going to be tough.
Rough. Blackout.
Now, here's another story that I added just because Wendell will pontificate on these things. You want to get Wendell going, just talking and not stopping. Talk about CPU fabrication.
Yeah. He's very interested in this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Intel addresses CPU shortage and the supply is tight. And we're doing what we can to remedy that.
Do you mean,
the end.
Are they saying that supply is tight, meaning it's restricted? Or are they saying it's tight, meaning it's really good? It's like, that supply is tight, yo.
We don't get high on our own supply. We are pushers, not takers at Intel family.
It's the former. I'll spoil it for you. So the problem here is the 14 nanometer stuff. We know that Intel is not doing well at 10 nanometer. But they're also not doing well keeping up with demand on the 14 nanometer and the low end. They're shipping plenty of those 24 core i9s and all that nonsense. I can't remember. Is it 24 or 32? I think it's 24. And you can get those, but you can't get the workhorse business class CPUs. And people are complaining and they're saying, yo, we know about it, but what can we do?
This is basically just a press release being like, we're sorry.
Yeah, they're going to do better, or so they say. Now, our next story points out a scourge upon the world. One of the darkest things a human being can do, and that is account sharing. Who would do it?
Definitely never me. For Netflix or for anything else, nothing. I would never do such a horrible thing. Spotify is cracking down on this, though. So much so that you now get an email that forces you to verify your location.
This isn't quite account sharing. This is the family plan. So they got the family plan. You get like extra accounts at a discount because it's all in the same house, right? Well, some people might be cheating and using a family plan with people they don't even live with.
Which, it's not really fair to call it a family plan because, what if your mom lives over in a holler and she wants to use your Netflix account? You technically don't live together, but you are family.
That is a broken family, and they don't deserve the gift of music.
It's going to be rough.
So the answer is you're going to get an email, and it's going to say, click here to confirm your location. And it's going to use your IP and your location data, if you'll let it, and try to figure out if you are in fact in that house. Now, I was thinking this could bring families together, right? So it's like
everyone has to move into one house just to share this account.
No, they're not going to move in together. It's just going to be the one-time thing to use the email. So it's like, hey, we're doing the big Spotify cookout Thursday.
Can you make it?
And everybody comes in from, like 2 or 3 states, and they have a nice time together, and they all confirm their Spotify accounts, and then they go back to their.
They get drunk at a barbecue and start hurling insults, and then they confirm their email and they leave.
Yeah, so it's a good time. An excellent time. Well, how much? Here's a question for you.
Viewer.
We'll pose this question, and you can pause the video and go down in the comments and ask it. How much is it worth to be the default search on Apple products?
I would say at least $350.
Well, you didn't go over. That's the good news.
$1. Apple is demanding a $9 billion price tag from Google to be the default search on their devices.
That's a lot of money.
Wasn't it originally like way lower, and then each iteration they've been asking
Every
for more
year,
and more, and Google keeps doing it?
It went from 1 to 3 to 9. That's a big jump. But a lot of people are speculating that Siri might also start returning Google results as a result of this big payday.
What do you think Apple users would be angry if it started returning stuff from Bing? I'd be kind of mad.
Let me tell you, I look at the real estate sites, and Realtor.com returns Google Maps. Zillow returns Bing Maps.
I've noticed that.
Bing Maps are garbage. Don't waste my time with a Bing map. You're just making it unpleasant for me.
Because you end up like the addresses aren't quite right, so the house is just in the middle of a field.
They don't even do the directions, so you can't tell how far away it is.
Oh yeah, from your work.
Yeah, so it's ridiculous.
Not even worth it.
Now, for Google, though, I think it's worth it. Well, it's obviously worth it because they're getting that sweet advertising data. And they're tracking you. And as we'll find out in the security section on Friday, Google, when you log in to Google services, they do some sneaky stuff these days.
Why don't you, let's take a break real quick and ask, how is your house hunt going?
Okay, so old hoarder lady supposedly has cleaned out the house. And it's ready.
Or her grandchildren have, or whoever.
But now I can't get the contractor to call me back. Yeah. And you know who it is? I won't say, but let's say it's classic behavior.
Oh.
Well,
that's sad.
That is sad.
That is sad because they were good.
I know, that's right. I was going to give them my business. Well, MS-DOS. It's going to be released onto GitHub. How exciting is that? If you want to go back and explore the world of MS-DOS, you no longer have to download and extract it yourself. You can go right onto GitHub and look through it.
And look, there's 0 comments on this article. I can't believe that on this exciting news.
This is once again something that Wendell would have gone on about for a solid 2-3 minutes. Yeah, it's not that exciting. What year? Trivia. What year, MS-DOS?
I don't know.
It's exactly the same age as I am.
1985.
Well, you're giving me some credit there. I'm not going to answer. People will have to click that link and find out for themselves.
They'll figure it out, and then they'll be like, Ryan was born this year.
Well, this is, I'm very excited about this. This is, no one's really tested this, but if this is true, it's really cool.
Yeah, Ryan explained this to me. So cheaper batteries unveiled as a step to a carbon-free grid. This is cool because it's made with zinc, which means it's going to be super cheap, but also like, you're probably not losing as much energy with it either.
I don't know what the that performance is, but it's the big selling point. Not going to burst into flame. You know how the Teslas tend to, just light right up. Yeah, it would be a problem with the zinc batteries, but also the world is not at risk of running out of zinc. We're fairly tapped out when it comes to the lithium and the other rare earth stuff. If you look at projections into the future, like everybody's going to be driving an electric car, they're not going to be lithium batteries.
Yeah.
But zinc, if you don't know, pennies are not made out of copper since a long time ago. They're made out of zinc. And that's how cheap and useless zinc is.
We're literally using it to make currency.
It's just garbage. And we're using it to make the worst currency.
Yeah.
I think Canada got rid of the penny. And we should follow suit.
I don't know the last time I used a penny.
But here's some good news, hey, I don't know how many pounds this thing is, but how many pounds worth of pennies? Like a couple $100, probably get you enough zinc to build one of these sweet batteries.
This looks cool. Looks like if you took that guy's hand off it, you'd think it was a building.
Yeah. So the way this thing works, it's zinc oxide. It's zinc and oxygen. And the charging procedure separates it into zinc and oxygen, and then the output is zinc oxidizing. So real simple, real cheap. And they're talking about, the building that this guy's, the inventor of this thing has. They're actually, they're so confident in this, they're disconnecting it from the grid.
Wow.
It's like, we don't need it. We got solar. We'll charge these puppies up, and we're good for 2 or 3 days of darkness if we need it to be.
It could be neat.
Pretty cool. Now, we've mentioned 2 or 3 stories that were just specifically Wendell stories that he was just pontificating on, and this was the biggest one.
It was a big one.
This is a disgusting thing.
It's kind of crappy to the fans, especially that they picked up this franchise because they knew it would pay out.
Yeah.
They're shutting down Stage 9, which is a fan-made recreation of the USS Enterprise. I guess on copyright grounds, but these guys were super faithful.
This was
in their adaptation.
A game. I mean, a game is a loose way of speaking about this, but it was a simulation, I guess is a better word, of you could just walk through the Enterprise. Every corridor, every terminal, faithfully recreated, and you could just cruise around in it. There's a YouTube video where they showcase all this. It takes them 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Just to go through it.
To get through the whole ship.
And then some of it is probably just them talking about, as you'll remember from the 1974 episode.
Yeah, I can admit.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I clicked through and it was like, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
And
it's like when people build those giant like structures in Minecraft, except this is probably far closer to the real thing because it's not, set up in blocks.
And it took them it took them like 2 years, I think, to do this. A team of people. And they've been shut down. Of course, CBS, they have the right to do this, but I think it's a stupid move.
It seems like that would be something you'd want to feature, like do a little featurette as like a hype for the new season.
Yeah.
So like, hey, check out what these fans did in our Star Wars corner or Star Trek corner. Oh, Wendell would scream at me for that.
He probably just got to chill wherever he is.
Someone walked over my grave.
Yeah, I can't see how it would hurt CBS in any way. Because it's not like CBS is going to do something like this, really.
Yeah.
Personally, I can see spending maybe like 10 minutes. I'm not going to go through the trouble of downloading and installing whatever this thing is. But if somebody else had it, I'd be like, oh, yeah, that's cool. But I bet Wendell would spend some time with it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Well, I found a Minecraft server that was like a complete recreate, not quite to scale, but close to scale of most of Middle Earth. And I spent probably a good 45 minutes just wandering around the Shire. And it was like very faithfully, like not by the movies, but by the books. Like all the little mini towns in the Shire and like the little areas were all explored. The mill, Ted Sandeman's mill.
Is it, because imagine, I would love to see the internal communications from this project, because it's all those like super pedantic people. And if you got something wrong.
Oh.
Yeah. So I bet that's sort of like the Linux thing. You weren't here last week, but of course you heard about the Linux.
Yeah,
the
I've been keeping up with it on the forum. People have been discussing it on
and
the forum.
But that sort of, toxic behavior and, the pedantic way that people deal with it is the only way you get to something like a perfect recreation of the Enterprise.
Yeah. I personally wouldn't really want to be involved with something like that, but it's fun to look at the results of their labor.
And I think it is fun for the people who are super into that kind of thing to be in that drama. I think they like it.
Yeah.
So why take it away from them, CBS? Such a stupid move. Well, the final story we have today is exciting, if a little hard to believe, maybe.
A Japanese company has announced a long-term plan to develop the moon. What year was it? 2030?
2030 is the sort of the culmination of all of this, but it comes in phases. So phase 1 is a satellite, and then they have I don't think that's their lander. But
we've got some other drawings here. There you go.
This is Mama Rover, who carries Baby Rover through her umbilical tether and launches him out to do explorations. And so phase 1 is the satellite, phase 2 are the rovers, and then phase 3 is moon base with people on it. And they're going to extract ice and convert that into hydrogen and oxygen to be sold as fuel and propellant.
And I was kind of making the comment when we were discussing the stories earlier. I was like, it seems kind of foolish to open a gas station across the street from the main gas station.
But
you know what I mean?
Here's the thing. If you're looking for like a breakfast burrito or bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit,
you got to stop by the moon.
You go to this one, which is weird because it's Japanese, and you wouldn't think they'd be serving those foods, but they do, and they're incredible.
What would a Japanese-run moon gas station serve?
What do they eat for breakfast? I don't know the Japanese culture that well.
I don't know.
But yeah, you get that burrito and just smash it against your helmet, just rub it.
So good. If you're Japanese or if you've been to Japan, what do they eat for breakfast? What would they serve there?
You've just triggered the weebs.
The weebs? I can't believe she doesn't know. They probably have like Americanized stuff too, like Pop-Tarts. But what's a traditional Japanese breakfast?
I love, you ever see those pictures where somebody in a foreign country will take a picture of the American section at their supermarket?
Oh yeah, it's all like, it's not even like American food. Well, it is American food, but it's like only the processed like candies and like, cakes and cookies and potato chips. But
that's what they feel represents American food in a supermarket. So you wonder for example, the German section of our supermarket.
Oh, well, I imagine it's the same though, because it's like, the British section is like wine gummies and digestive biscuits. Yeah, hobnob. It's all like treats, not actual food.
There's going to be a lot of, stupid fat American comments based on. Well, that's it for this week. This week. Friday, we'll be back and we'll be covering security. And there's a lot of security stuff this week.
Oh, it's my favorite section.
We actually took the Facebook stuff out of security.
Because it was so much.
It's not your favorite section. That's a lie. But nonsense, which is everybody's favorite section. Well, there's a couple people who hate it. A couple people who will constantly comment and be like, I can't believe that you're covering these stupid stories. You have no credibility.
Well, we're not really. I wouldn't call us a journalistic source. We're more of like a compiler commentary sort of source.
Somebody's going to be like, you never talk about compilers.
Yeah, wow.
All right. We'll see you on Friday.
Bye.
Hope you're enjoying your week. It's nice weather here,
nice.
Here where we are.
Well, I don't know if it will be by the time this goes out. It's nice today.
But it's October. Everybody loves a spooky month. And as Krista mentioned in the last episode, it's the peak white girl.
I got my scarves out, ready
pumpkin
to go.
spice, scarves, leggings.
I need to buy some more leggings.
Yeah.
Because I had a bleach stain on my other ones.
Oh, how embarrassing.
It was embarrassing.
You cannot go on Instagram with a bleach stain.
Well, it's just like right on my knee, too. So like I sit down and I can just see it.
Repulsive.
It's terrible.
We need to stop this before I
I
get sick thinking about it.
Yeah.